Welcome to the course Startup Formation and Scalability. This video lecture we will discuss about major difference between regular traditional business and startup. Last course Innovation and Entrepreneurship, the major distinction between businessman and entrepreneur. Entrepreneur mainly focusing for new product or new process development, but businessman focusing already existed one. In my perception, already existing business, the margin may be low, less than 20 percentage. If they are monopoly of the company, then okay. But in the entrepreneurial thinking, for new product development, the market price entrepreneur can fix. This is my perception. This video lecture, we want to classify one side a businessman, entrepreneur, then startups. Startup, the startup inventor in the entrepreneurial journey, the initial stage, young company we called a startup. In the last video lecture, we discussed about what is the definition of startup, young company. Now, what is the difference between major difference between startup and traditional business? Now, by definition, new organization created to grow innovative products or service we call startup. For traditional business, established entities focused on maintaining steady operation with suitable profitability. The definition itself major difference. Created to grow, often offering innovative product, that is startup. This one is a established entity focused on maintaining steady operation and profitability. That means flexibility is more in startup. Stability is there in traditional business. By definition itself, it's what is the primary objective in the startup? Rapid growth and scaling aims to disturb at present market. But here already we retain the sustainability. We reached some profit also. At present market in our hand. This is the primary objective. Major difference in the objective itself, fast growth in the startup because they are entry level. Within 6 to 7 years, we aim sustainable. After sustainability, they want to grow, scale up everything. Within every day, there is a change, like a baby how it is growing. But traditional business, everything is stable. With the longer duration only, the small changes will occur. Innovation level, order of innovation is higher in startups, always introducing new technology. In traditional business, not like that, moderate, sometimes less than moderate level. So major difference, startups and traditional business, the organization is created to grow because it's a newborn baby. But traditional business already profitable, already stable. Newness is more important for startup, less only in traditional. The primary objective, scaling at present, just changing the market segment is more in startups, but very, very less in the traditional business. Again, risk profile, more market risk profile in the startup, but in traditional business lesser or very the risk profile is less. Traditional business already they are reached, but one thing, the profit, the margin is always lesser in the traditional business. Funding source frequently rely on venture capitals and angel investor. Angel investor is a major contributor for startups. Here, our traditional finance source like bank loan and reinvestment from the profit. Then operational structure depends on the change in technology, change in customers taste, everything changing. It's a flexible and a dynamic adaptation is possible in startups. Most of the students after finishing their graduation, they are entering into startup company because technology, more adaptation is possible in the startups. That's why most of the students in higher education institutes like startup instead of traditional company. More hierarchical network in the traditional business. In the traditional business, they are following step by step procedure. If you want to adapt new technology, it will take more time. But in the startup, it's not like that. Quickly it will change. Now, funding source is very important. For funding source, major difference between traditional business and startup. Traditional business always believe bank loan. Sometime from the profit they are investing some amount. The banking based on the company status, based on business revenue, they are giving importance. But the startups, the source of startups, particularly funding, they are billing from self funding, then loans they are getting from friends, mainly for startup angel investors. Incubators are giving maximum funding from state and central government. The funding from Department of Science and Technology, particularly for startup, based on their technology feasibility. Then they will get some share from the startup company. Often rely on external funding. Startups believe because their company is a young, the innovator also very young. They don't have suitable funding. That's why they want to believe source from others. They rely on external funding. But in the traditional business, they have saving. By the way, the family also contributing some amount. But here startup, family sometime contribute, friends they may help, but maximum amount from the angel investor. Traditional business, typical funding through a personal saving, bank loan, and reinvestment from the profit, particularly for sustaining that growth. Very difficult funding process only in the startup. Now, the government encouraging for startup company giving some grant as well as the subsidized loan also for growth of startup. The angel investor, when they will find the company for source of funding, they understand the growth of the startup. Initial idea stage is good, then they will go for mentorship, then getting seed from the incubator, that market commercial possibility is there, then the angel investor comes and give maximum funding process. The relation between angel investor and startup innovation is very important. Through that agreement they will share all the details. If I am giving my idea, angel investor coming and helping in funding as well some technological development, being a mentor, maybe a business mentoring, then the growth of the company, how can get profit, the profit sharing, everything they will write in the agreement itself. So source of funding is very important in the startup. Particularly grants are very good for our student stage. Particular in the students after 3 years of their regular course in the undergraduate course, 4 years course after completion, they are entering into startup based company. The grant, Tamil Nadu government and central government they are giving as a grant. They understand the startup viability. Their growth depends on the market segment. understanding all those validation, they are giving as a grant. With that grant, students can start their own idea into startup. This is possible for that. So Tamil Nadu government is giving maximum through startup TN. They are giving up to 10 lakhs for student project. What they are expecting after certain level, they need registration, DPIIT registration for startup. At present, Tamil Nadu having more than 10,000 DPIT startup registration. Before 2021, the startup registration is around 2,300. With the support of state government and the central government, most of the incubator and accelerators giving support to the young mind, even from the college level, the startup registration rate is very, very higher. At present, we can compare with the global level. Tamil Nadu is comparing that startup growth with that global level. The risk and uncertainty. We have six fundamental steps of startup risk. We call risk management. The operational risk is higher. Environmental risk also very higher. Generally, the lower risk in the traditional business, but very higher order risk in the startup. Identification of problem itself difficult. Identifying a problem, giving solution. Identify a problem, the uniqueness of the problem is very, very important. From that problem, what are the risks we need to take? We solving the problem, we are giving a technology support, whether it's a feasible for solving that problem. Technology feasibility is an important step. Then the risk we need to sort out. Then prioritize the risk by means of solving that with the technology backup. Developing, then planning, vision, mission statement. Then clarity about the product development or process development. These five steps technology based person can solve. Finally, we have a review of regularity, whether it's all the risk taking finally is come to the regular level of business. The major risk we need to cross, that's why we are introducing the subject startup formation and scalability based on that understanding during your regular college level. If you are facing that risk, it is very easy to start a company, because in the student stage you are able to take more risk. After age of 40 is very, very difficult to take this more risk. That's why always more risk. The startup innovators, entrepreneurs are more risk takers. That is different from our regular employment. Operational risk is very, very high. That's why we are classifying in two different risks. One is operational risk, then environmental risk, then market risk. Scalability. Before entering the scalable, we need to solve all the problem. With that, I conclude this lecture. We understand what is startup, what is scalability, what are the various stages. Now difference between regular startups and traditional business. We already studied about business and entrepreneurship. This lecture we can highly understandable in the traditional business with our regular startup. Thank you. Once again, we will see in the next lecture with suitable title. Thank you again.